IKIM Inspirasi Inforia Islami. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And thank you for being with us again on Open Forum this evening. And Alhamdulillah, we are here again for the second part of the discussion with Professor Dr. Abdul Al-Fattah Al-Awisi, Fellow of the Royal Historical Society UK. Prof, thank you for being with us again for the second part of the discussion, Prof.
It's my pleasure.
Alhamdulillah. And last week we talked about, the topic that central topic of our discussion is on Islamic Jerusalem, a model for peaceful coexistence and mutual respect. And you have shared with us, the factors or the elements of what is peaceful coexistence and the model itself. And you have also, talked how important it is for us to understand that the issue of Palestine is actually, it's an issue of Aqidah for Muslims and the importance of it to Muslims. Yeah. So, Prof, my first question to you today is with regard to what's happening in Gaza and, the repetitive attacks by the Zionists in Gaza, plus the current atrocities committed by the Israel regime in Al-Aqsa and also in Gaza itself. Indicated the persistent threat towards creating peace in the area. So what is your view on this current situation, Prof, if you may share with our listeners?
Thank you very much again for having me for the second time.
Mm-hmm.
I think what is missing in the news when we talk about Gaza and talking about Bayt al-Maqdis wal Masjid al-Aqsa, that we forget that it is under occupation.
Yes.
And this is the severe which the occupier would like us to forget. And in particular for the Muslim Ummah, because they are following this not in a regular basis, and they forget that Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa is under occupation. And that is the core of, and if we understand it's under occupation, this means the occupier do everything. And I may remind the listeners of the British occupation of Malaysia. And the occupation is the occupation. The worst thing in life is to be occupied by a foreign power. The foreign power, when they occupy the land, they try to destroy everything. And they try to destroy the heritage. They try to destroy the civilization. And they try to destroy the identity. So what the Israeli is doing is try to do everything. In Al-Aqsa Mosque, they try to fulfill their aim, which is, they are now talking it very openly, to destroy Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa and to build the Jewish temple on the side of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. I remember 35 years when we used to say to the Muslim Ummah, Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa in danger. Oh, this is too far, this is too extreme. I don't think this will happen. Nowadays, the Israelis politician, the Israeli religious establishment talking very openly that our aim is to destroy Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. Even they have scenarios. About Al-Masjid. I will give you, before we start talking about Gaza. One of the scenarios, they say, the Muslims love Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. If this is the case, we can help them with the technology to remove Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa and to put it in another Muslim country. So basically, we will not destroy Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, we'll disseminate it, remove it in pieces, and with our technology, working with a Muslim country, and rebuild it again, and no problem, we are not destroying Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. You see how they are thinking. The second, and this is by the way published, if you read the Israeli newspaper or the Israeli intellectual, you will find this in their writing. The other option, they have been since 1967 digging under Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. So Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa now without foundation. So they are hoping there will be an earthquake, a strong earthquake. If the earthquake hit, it will be destroyed. Then they will say to us, your Allah destroy Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, and we did not destroy it. You see how they are strategically planning, and there is other issue. The problem now, they are coming very openly, and they start attacking. I mean attacking, coming in thousands. 2 days ago, nearly 2,000 settlers invaded Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, and they start doing their Jewish worshipping in Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. What the Muslims they do? They are watching. The Ummah, talking of the Ummah. The Murabitin, in particular females, they stand there. They don't have any weapons in their hand except Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And 2 days ago, several settlers, they start insulting Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And when they insult, a lady, a Muslim lady from that land, stand up, and because she knows Hebrew, and she clashed with them. What they have done, they arrested her, because she was not defending herself, she's defending Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So, to our listeners, the big nusra to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is to work for the liberation of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. 35 years we used to say Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa in danger. I'm saying to my brother and sister here in Malaysia, Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa nearly to disappear. And if it disappears, this is not the responsibility of the Palestinian. Everyone should blame himself at that time. Gaza is also, unfortunately, has been under this blockade for more than 15 years. And imagine you are under blockade for 15 years.
Yeah.
How people they are seriously, I don't know how people are managing to live. There is 2 million in very small area. I can't imagine 2 millions living over there. Maybe they are more than 2 millions. So the blockade affected the life of the people, and unfortunately, health-wise.
Yes.
Health-wise, they need the treatment. Economically, socially, educationally, all this has been affected. And what Israel has been doing, between time to time, they wage war. So it's like Gaza is surviving from the blockade, and they are also demolishing sometimes hospitals, which built by Muslims donation, by the way. Some of it from Malaysia and from other Muslim country. So they demolish hospitals. They kill children. In the last 3 days, families wept. Families, children, 6, 7 children. What the Israelis, in particular, in the last one, aiming, the current government, they don't have a majority in the parliament. And they dissolve, for anyone interested in understanding the details of the Israeli society, they dissolve the Knesset, the parliament. And now they are waiting for election. So this 3 days war is a propaganda election to be elected by killing the Palestinians in Gaza. That is the scenario. The current prime minister is very weak. He counted on the extremists who attack Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. So he need to win them. How to win them? Go and wage war in Gaza and kill as much as you like from the Palestinian. So both issues, the issue in Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa and the issue in Gaza are connected. You can't separate them. One of the things the Israelis is trying, and unfortunately they have been successful, they have been dividing Palestine into 3 parts: Gaza, West Bank, and the land of 1948. And each one they are dealing with them separately. And that is during the Ramadan before, where the Israelis, when they attack Gaza, and before they attack Gaza, they attack Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, the 3 areas came together for the first time. And that the result, I'm talking of some research published by Israeli academician showing that this is dangerous against Israel. So the Israeli society are divided.
Yeah.
Imagine within less than 2 years, 5 election. So this mean, as a scholar of IR, when I look at this means there is a huge division within the Israeli society.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, when they are fighting, the current prime minister with the previous prime minister Netanyahu, each one, they would like to show their strength by killing more Palestinians and destroying the Islamic identity in al-Masjid al-Aqsa al-Mubarak.
Because they believe that's one way to gain support from the people of Israel, by using Gaza as you know, as a pawn in their political dealings and so on.
I'm imagining an Israeli. We have waged war several times.
Yeah.
Every few years we wage the war. You did not eliminate what you called, excuse me, the threat on Gaza. Gaza militantly become more stronger and stronger and stronger. Why? Because the people supporting. When they see that the resistant movement is the only movement to try to stop the Israelis. And when you look at the whole Muslim country, they are numeralization with Israel. They are moving into become a friend with Israel, establishing Israeli embassy in Muslim land, and they established Muslim embassy in Tel Aviv in an occupied Muslim land. What the Israeli, they will love this situation. So they feel all the Muslim, not all the Muslims, some Muslim country, they are with them. So and some suggested even the last few wars has happened with the support of some Muslim countries, unfortunately.
Talking about this issue of Palestine, is sad to see what's happening and how the Palestinian people are suffering because of all the actions against them. When we talk about this, Prof, in your opinion, how do these attacks impact security and peace in the region itself? Not just the land, but then the region. That.
When I look at, I spent several years in the Public Record Office in London, which is the documentation revealed by the British government and the British Foreign Office between time to time. And Israel is not a Jewish project. This is the conclusion I came after. Israel is a Western project. Israel was established by Britain to serve the British interest at that time. And it took Britain 148 years to establish its project. It started with the religious community in London and in the UK, and then the politician took the opportunity. So the issue of establishing this project in the region to divide the Arabs, to let the Arabs fight each other, to bring them on their side. So from my own research, I can't believe, or I can't think, be more academic, I can't think or I can't argue that there will be peace in the whole Arab country while Israel exists. While the Israeli occupied the Muslim land, I can't see a peace at all. They have been talking about peace process. One of my British academician, he pointed to me, Abdul Fattah, he said, we are talking of peace process. We are talking about the process, not of peace. And there is difference between peace process and the peace. So we have been, since Madrid conference, we are talking of the peace process. Then I developed my idea, and we are talking of managing the conflict, not resolving the conflict. So what the Israelis is doing, they are managing successfully, I should admit, the conflict for their own interest. And we, as Palestinians, Arab and Muslim, we are happy to be part of that of that process. For us, if we can't liberate this land, we should continue the conflict, maybe for the next generation to come and to help for the liberation. So for peace, definitely this war make the peace is impossible and difficult. And I don't think attacking Gaza or attacking Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa or destroying Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa will lead to any peace. It is the opposite. It will lead to a regional war. And my research telling me that the area of what is called the Middle East, which I call it the West Asia, because the Middle East is an Orientalist terminology. The West Asia is on the edge of a major war in the region. So I can't see peace with Israel. I can't see. I think we are lying to each other when we say there might be a possibility of someone stealing your land. Let me put it to my brother and sister listening to us.
Yeah.
Imagine you have a home, and this home has been stolen, and you have been kicked out from your home, and then this man or woman occupied your home, said to you, I will give you the toilet to live, you and with your family. Will any sensible individual accept this? This is the reality of Israel in the region, unfortunately.
Yeah, so it's only through the liberation of Palestine would the region be peaceful.
I don't have any single doubt.
Yeah.
All the problems happen in the Middle East after the establishment of the State of Israel. After the establishment, how many wars we have? We have 1948, then we have 1956, then we have 1967, then we have 1982, and all the war. All these wars happen because of the Israeli occupation. So the only way to establish peace is to get rid from this occupation. That's the only way to establish peace and to return peace. This is the land of peace.
Yes.
This is the land of peace. But peace will not come back to the land of peace without establishing justice. And the justice, Abdul Fattah returned back to his homeland. I haven't seen my homeland now for 30 years. My parents passed away and I couldn't go to attend their janazah. So you see, this is at the individual level. So the justice is, I need to go back to my home. Why any Jewish individual from any part of the world, they just took the flight and go to Tel Aviv. Immediately when they landed, they will be giving a full residence on the country. I born there. My parents born there. Generation until Sahabi Tamim bin Awsin al-Dari, going all through, and I'm not allowed to be living in overland. So there is this injustice. So how peace can be established without justice? Unfortunately, the Arab and the Palestinian, they have been since Madrid conference. They are talking about what they call peace for land, exchange for peace for land. This did not work. The Palestinian National Authority, they have been negotiating with Israel for how many years? More than 25 years.
Yeah.
What they get? Zero. They haven't get anything. The formula I have been academically offering, peace for justice. If there is justice, then there is peace. And there is so many Western scholars talking that this is the place of justice. Without justice, even one scholar, she is in biblical studies, she pointed to me the Old Testament talking that the only way to establish peace on this land is establishing justice.
Yeah, that's a very important message, Prof. When we're talking about peaceful coexistence and also the significance of the land itself, in your writing, you talked about the theory of the circle Barakah circle. I would like you to share that with our listeners so that they can have a better understanding
Well,
of this.
this is I developed this theory to help strategic planning for the liberation of Baytul Maqdis. Because all geopolitical theory has been invented for the sake of their own country. Yani the British scholar to serve the British Empire at that time, the German to serve the German interest at that time. So I felt I need to go back to our Islamic sources, and based on Surah Al-Isra, the first verse in Surah Al-Isra, I developed this theory, and basically I developed that there is three circles. There is the center of the Barakah, which is Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. The center of the Barakah is Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, according to the verse in the Quran. The first circle is Baytul Maqdis. And Baytul Maqdis here is not the city of Qudus or the city of Jerusalem. It is a region, a very wide region. Part of it from Jordan. It's including in Baytul Maqdis. And this is the Prophet description, not my description. But we lost it. We lost it with the borders, which has been given by the colonial, the French and the British. So it is even the border of Baytul Maqdis is like the border of Mecca and Medina. But we lost it. We lost this for the sake of excuse me, for the sake of talking East Jerusalem and West Jerusalem here. So that's the first circle. So the center of the Barakah is Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. The first circle is Bayt al-Maqdis as a region. The third circle is Al-Ard al-Mubarakah, which is Egypt and Bilad al-Sham, which is Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, and Palestine. The third circle is what I call the Muslim East, which covered Iraq, Turkey, and the rest of Egypt. Recently, in my new book, I have added what I call beyond the third circle, which to include all Muslim country, including Malaysia. And I call this the circle of Nusra and support and the providing, not with money, but the providing of the brain. What we need in why I developed this, because we need to connect Muslims, in particular here, Muslim in Malaysia. And my message to my brother and sister, we don't need what is in your pocket. We need what is in your brain. We need the Malaysian brain. Again and again. People, when I talk, they feel he's a Palestinian and coming to collect fund from us. I'm not here in Malaysia to collect any single fund from anyone in Malaysia. I'm coming here to collect the mind of the Malaysian, because you have an excellent intellectual Malaysian. I would like to share with them discussion. I would like them to be part of al-ilm al-nafi', the beneficial ilm Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam talked. So we can, out from this beneficial ilm, having what I called strategic thinking to lead to strategic planning. We need, it's a shame in all of us that until now there is no strategic planning for the liberation of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa and of Bayt al-Maqdis. How we can do that? By sharing our brain. And as I said, Malaysian, from knowing them for 21 years, they have excellent brain, but we haven't used it. We haven't, Muslims, we haven't used and benefit, sorry, not used, the used is not the right word. We haven't benefit from the brain and the intellect of our Malaysian brothers. So I use this excellent radio by calling among the intellectual to be together and to work together for the beneficial ilm, which we might through discussion might lead to strategic thinking in the hope that we have a strategic planning for the liberating of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. Wallahi, Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa deserve all of our effort, and inshallah tabaraka wa ta'ala, we pray in Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa when it is liberated, inshallah ta'ala.
Ameen, ameen, Allahumma ameen. Inshallah, Prof, I hope that, your effort and what you have put in with regard to this, area of your research and also your contribution of knowledge on this particular issue would benefit us all, inshallah. And with that, Prof, Dr. Abdul Fattah LOIC, I thank you on behalf of Open Forum for being with us on this two episodes of Open Forum to talk about a very important topic, Islamic Jerusalem, a model for peaceful coexistence and mutual respect. I hope you come again to our radio and talk more about this particular issue, inshallah. There's so much things that I believe you can share with our listeners. And I thank my producer, Hajah Mazlina Ismail, and also to all Radio IKIM listeners who tune in again to Open Forum next week, where we will discuss more important issues. With that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Alaikum salam.